Hi everyone, to whoever's gonna be watching this in the future. Thank you and welcome. Hope you stay till the end because we've got an interesting topic today. We're just waiting for our speaker now.
Yeah.
We're waiting for us. Hello everyone again. I'm Shivani. We have Prachi with us, today's speaker. So, as you all probably know, I hope you do, it's about panic attacks today. Well, let's hope no one has one. Well, we're right here to support you if someone does. But anyway, like that's such a common issue, and a lot of people just use this so commonly, like, oh, I'm having a panic attack. But today we're gonna get into the depth of it. What is a panic attack? We have Prachi here for that. So let's get into it. Prachi, tell us a bit more about panic
Right.
attacks and what they are.
All right. Okay. So I think a lot of people don't know that panic attacks come from panic disorder and panic disorder comes from anxiety, right? So usually, and I think a lot of people also can't differentiate between anxiety attack and panic attack. They're not to be blamed. It just feels like a heart attack in both the cases. But to differentiate and to understand panic attack more, so the basic is that, it results from panic disorder. Right now, panic attacks happen very suddenly. It's not like you'll get a warning or something will happen and then be like, okay, now I'm going to have a panic attack, right? Usually, I think in anxiety, we do have a lot of triggers and we have a little time to navigate through that window, right? However, panic attack just suddenly it happens, right? Most of the people have reported symptoms, they're very extreme and it can last for 10 minutes or longer, right? So it's very hard for a person to like really come out of it. Um, Signs are, of course, very fast heartbeat. It could be chest or stomach pain or just any discomfort in the body. Feeling dizzy, not being able to breathe properly. Sometimes there's depersonalization or derealization. To put it in simple terms for people watching, it's just disassociating from your environment, right? Then weakness, a pounding heart, as I said, could be sweating, trembling, shivering, feelings of being suffocated or choking, or nausea, irritable bowel, unsteady, feeling unsteady, lightheaded, or almost like I'm going to faint. So these are the signs that, it starts with. Another thing is that it's not going to be the same for everybody, right? For example, it's very common for people to think, oh, तुझे भी हो रहा है तो मुझे भी हो रहा है, right? It's never like that. Any two people in the room, for example, let's say Shivani and I have anxiety, it's not mandatory कि शिवानी और मेरा एंजाइटी सेम होगा, राइट? शिवानी का ट्रिगर्स अलग हो सकता है, मेरा ट्रिगर अलग होगा. सेम गोज फॉर पैनिक अटैक, सेम goes for depression, same goes for stress. It's different with everybody. So these are the few signs I think people can be mindful of: heartbeat, trembling, any physical discomfort, feeling nausea, dizzy, weakness. Yeah, that's how it starts. And the duration of panic attacks can last between 5 to 20 minutes, right? Many individuals have reported it feeling like it's a big, like a long attack, mostly like a, major heart attack, right? People have also reported feeling pain in their left side of the body where the heart is, right? So, of course, if your heart is going to pound really fast, you will feel breathless. That will feel like a heart attack. So, it's very important for people to be mindful that get a regular body checkup done. Just be sure that your heart is okay. Once you get that understanding that there's no physical problem, then of course, I think, in my opinion, it's coming from, some emotional disturbances or some stress or some trauma. That's how I see panic attacks.
Yeah, thanks so much for straightening that out. I think these are definitely some things, our viewers and watchers should keep in mind. To just, first of all, obviously, like Prachi said, keep in mind that it could be a physical thing, obviously. So just be sure, first and foremost, to, get that checked out. And then, obviously, if you think that it's really something to do with a panic attack, then these are the symptoms to keep in mind, just like Prachi said. Then I think the next thing, obviously, now, this is how we'll be able to identify how we're having a panic attack. Next thing, what if now someone has realized, now that's a panic attack? What should they do next? What's the support available for this challenge?
All right. Okay. So, one thing I tell all my clients and absolutely anybody around me If you're feeling uncomfortable mentally, please choose to take it equally. Like, it's important, just like your physical health, right? Go take a nap, relax yourself, calm down, make that time where you can just unwind and just be, right? However, if you have a panic attack, first thing, if you feel dizzy, choose to sit down. Just place yourself somewhere, because if you fall, right, if you get unconscious, if you feel that you're going to faint, you can hit your head or you can hit your body anywhere, right? It could be a bed, it could be a corner of your cupboard, it could be anywhere. So just choose to sit down, right? Once you're there, breathe. Now, of course, this is going to look like, yeah, it's so easy for you to say, it's not like that, it's impossible to breathe. Tell yourself that this is temporary, it will pass, right? You will come out of it. So first and foremost is to breathe, right? Send in a lot of oxygen to the brain. Once your brain gets that oxygen, it will automatically start calming down, right? It's like a signal ki just do it, right? And breathing comes so naturally. It's like we can't do anything without breathing, right? So have a little belief that this is my resource, I am born with it, I can take care of myself, right? Have that little belief. Another thing is that it's important to have somebody around, just for some reassurance, right? It's hard for us to reassure ourselves, to validate ourselves. So maybe, you can bank on some family member or a friend or maybe your partner. I think it's absolutely important for us to open up. At least have someone, who can look after you during these phases or, during these attacks. So, number one, if you feel dizzy, choose to sit down, start breathing. Number two, have somebody around you who can, keep an eye on you, or they can take care of you. Next, and one of the most impossible things it might feel, a lot of psychologists, and this is something that I also tell my clients, that ride through it. Don't give in, right? Whatever you're doing, if you were typing something on your laptop, no problem, keep typing, keep breathing, right? Distract yourself just a little bit, right? So you reach that point that, okay, now I'm distracted, I can at least comfort myself, right? Because again, there's a thought loop, right? If it keeps running and if you don't come out of it, there's a very high chance that panic attack is only going to aggravate, right? And it won't stop. So the whole idea is that you pause, drop everything, as if you've had a fever or you've had pneumonia or you've had any other physical ailment. We choose to stop, right? So stop, then get okay, or rather just learn grounding techniques. Again, Shivani, I think every time I come live, I have to say this: grounding techniques are my favorite techniques, right? It helps a lot. So, understanding grounding techniques, these are just coping strategies that will help you in coming out from your, mind. Because when you're more in your head, the thought is just going to keep going on, right? The narrative gets stronger. So the whole idea is that you connect with your surroundings, use your five senses, right? Maybe just, have a look around in your room, see five things you can see, name them, right? Say it out loud. Then maybe get up and touch four things, right? For example, let's say you find your post-its, right? Give yourself a few seconds, see, okay, wow, okay, this is what the page feels like on my arms. Okay, there's a sticky part to it, there's a soft part to it, like so. Touch four things, then hear three things. Focus on any sound coming out of your house or outside of your bedroom, right? Then smell two things. Smell absolutely anything. You don't have to smell something good. So smell anything, identify that smell for yourself, and taste one thing, right? So five things you can see, four things you can touch, three things you can hear, two things you can smell, and one thing you can taste. I suggest 5 4 3 2 1 a lot, because it's like a full exposure, sensory exposure, right? All of our five senses are going to get used. So that's one. Then you can practice a lot of emotional freedom tapping techniques, right? It is actually very similar to acupressure, acupuncture, right? Like, we have few points in our body, we press, we feel better. Same goes for this. To share a few, and I think Shivani, you can do this with me. Cross your arms and start tapping your shoulders, right? Once you do it, you find your own rhythm, right? Some people like to go really fast, some people like to go really slow. I personally like to go really slow, right? I like to go slow because it just immediately, it brings back feelings of me being embraced or me being comforted, right?
Yeah,
So
I
this
think you
is
saw it right there. I was going really fast.
yeah.
That was my approach to it.
Yes, right. So people can choose to close their eyes and deep breathe through this, right? Another thing is, you make a butterfly out of your hands, keep it on your chest, start tapping. Same drill, find your rhythm, right? Start tapping, start deep breathing, connect with yourself. Give yourself like a good solid 2 minutes. And I'm not kidding,
Yeah,
Shivani. As
this
soon
is
as I
pretty
start,
good already.
right? As soon as I start doing tapping
I
technique,
recommend this 100%.
I get goosebumps, so it does work, right? It's just
Yeah.
how you see yourself performing something and having that belief that, if I'm doing it for myself, I trust myself, I will take care of myself, right? So these are the two tapping techniques. Another thing that works beautifully, again, tapping technique, tap above your eyebrows, tap here on your temples, on your cheek, on your collarbones, right? So chronological order. You can do
All
this,
right. Starting
yeah,
here.
yeah, right? And tap. Now, again, tapping helps a lot. If some people I have, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, no, this generates a lot of feelings. I'm not ready to feel all so many things. So I'm like, okay, fine, just get up and tap yourself everywhere, right? Just tap it all out. This you can do. Apart from this, deep breathing, right? A lot of deep breathing. I'm a big fan of taking in oxygen. I make sure that that I have to keep my breathing um, right, or accurate. And this is something that I think I can share. I used to breathe from my mouth, a lot, thinking that my nose is not taking enough oxygen, so I need to breathe. And that actually, it did not help me get any oxygen in my body. So always remember that whenever we deep breathe, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Always, right? So few techniques that I give is 4-7-8. So you inhale for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. When you exhale, imagine you're blowing candles over a cake, right? So this whoosh sound should come out of your mouth. Now, 4-7-8 is such a brilliant technique, Shivani, that if you're feeling tired but you're not sleepy, you start doing 4-7-8, it'll put you to bed, right? So there's so much power in just breathing, right? Another thing is double inhalation. So you breathe in twice and you exhale once. So shorter breath, longer breath, exhale. By far, this just works wonderfully. Double inhalation is my favorite technique. Apart from that, you can also keep, some essential oils handy, right? Because again, panic attacks will not tell you that, oh, you're home, I'm coming now, right? It can happen anywhere. So keep a little, maybe itru or a perfume or anything that you can just inhale, right? I suggest my clients to, put something here like that essential oil and just sniff it, right? Or you can put it here or just beneath your nose, right? So it just keeps going in. Making use of our five senses is extremely important. So yeah, this is something that people can do to, calm themselves down and just move through that panic attack.
Right. I think those were pretty helpful techniques. I mean, sitting right here, I felt like, oh, at ease doing those tapping techniques. And the butterfly one was, I'm gonna go with that one, the next time I'm feeling a bit, you know, panicky. But yeah, so I think one point I would like you to come back to, like you mentioned, like, have someone there around you in case like you feel like you're gonna be dizzy, right? Uh, oh, did I lose you? Hello, are you there? Okay, we'll just wait a second.
Hello.
Hi, you're back.
Yes,
I can hear
yes,
you again.
yes, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So the question I really wanted to, know more about was what if someone doesn't have anyone around them, So I mean, obviously, like in when they're, feeling they're in that state, it might be difficult to sort of sit yourself down and then focus on all these like, activities. What would you suggest for them, like, some reminders in place or something like that? Like, what do you think would work for people who don't have anyone around them?
All right. So, to save yourself from such situations, I would then suggest, Shivani, that one needs to be very mindful of their condition, right? If I am somebody that I know I have probably, I will get triggered and I will have a panic attack, or this is something that I've been diagnosed of, or, I am, healing from it, then I think it has to be a personal responsibility, right? Then I need to be very mindful that I don't put myself, in a situation. I mean, I know nobody puts themselves, in such a dangerous situation, but then again, if you know about your condition, you take care of yourself, right? And that comes from having a routine, or, having that little wellness box where you can reach out to your techniques, or, any practices that are going to help you. I would suggest, make self-soothing a regular part of your life, right? Self-soothing could be grounding techniques, could be journaling, could be making time for your recreational activities, right? Could be finding that right kind of support system, so that even when you don't have anyone, if you make one call, right? For example, I'll tell you, I this is something that I suggested to somebody very close to me, and they live all by themselves, right? And they do have, some issues with their mental health. So they've kept a few numbers on their speed dial, right? Even if they don't have anybody in person, they can just hit the number and that the person is going to speak, right? So again, setting a few ground rules, right? For example, you and I are best friends and I'm living far, far away, right? And I confide in you. I don't go to my parents, I don't go to my neighbors. So keeping Shivani on speed dial, right? I know that Shivani will take the call, right? I know that if I am dialing and if I'm not speaking, it's automatically a hint for Shivani to know that Prachi is not doing okay, right? So building on such relationships is very important. And that, irrespective of having a panic attack or having mental health issues, I think everybody needs to, build relationships in that sense that, okay, we have somebody to fall on, right? That's one. Another thing is regular exercise, and I can't say it enough. I know people will just take this in wrong light ki nahi exercise therapy nahi. Yes, exercise is not therapy, but it's a tool, right? It helps you in understanding your body. My breathing habit got better when I actually joined the gym. So again, people, I'm not saying go to the gym and push weight. No, see what your body likes, right? Allow yourself to listen to your body. It does give you signals. Some people go for aerobics, some people like to do zumba, some people like to do dance, maybe go for yoga. You can keep few asanas handy also, because they also help with anxiety, depression and panic attacks. So make exercise, make body movement a regular part of your, daily routine. Then, apart from that, have a healthy diet, right? Putting nutrition in the body is very important. Yes, I of course understand that when we are, in a very high panic state, or when we are having an anxiety attack, we don't feel like eating, right? We almost feel like whatever I'm going to put in, it will come out. I'll end up throwing up. I'll end up puking, right? But understand that during that time your brain is only functioning from a survival instinct, right? So it will forget everything else, it just wants to save you. So take some time, but keep eating, right? Have maybe dry fruits handy, or a piece of chocolate, anything that is going to help you, right? Then maintain that diet, right? Understand what food also helps you. A lot of times there are certain foods that trigger people, right? So be mindful of your eating habits. Then caffeine control is biggest thing, right? People think that coffee will help. No, it does not. It does exactly the opposite. So, cutting down on caffeine helps a lot. Cutting down on your alcohol helps a lot. Cutting down on your smoking. Smoking is one thing. I have heard so many people say that I wasn't stressed, but I had one smoke and now I feel better. It's temporary. Smoking is not going to help you, right? It just tricks the brain, because all these substances, they release feel good emotion, right? So it's just for that one drag or two drags you take, and right after you go back to that environment, you will feel that anxiety or panic is still there, right? So control your caffeine, alcohol and smoking, because scientifically also, many therapists, many scientists also suggest that these three things can make your panic attack worse, right? Apart from that, look for support groups, right? A lot of people are not okay in having individual sessions. So if you're not comfortable, look for support groups. They can be extremely useful. They also make you feel like you belong. Because again, I think we discussed this, during our last time, that people tend to feel lonely, right? They isolate themselves when they don't feel up to the mark. So support groups will also help you in understanding that you belong and you're actually equally important to anybody else, right? So do that. And of course, professional help. That has to top the list. Go seek help. I cannot say it enough. Just go speak to someone. A lot of things will make sense to you.
Yeah, for anything, I think that's the best advice.
Yeah.
Obviously, except for everything else you've said.
Yes, yes.
But yes, I think that needs to be stressed. All of these tips and tricks are, for people who are aware of their conditions and,
Mm,
are
mm,
able to manage them better. I think one thing, if you're really only starting to navigate your, condition or your state of mind, like, and you're not really sure, I think, yes, that Prachi would be like, the first step that they should go seek
yes,
professional help. Let the professional tell you, what's the best approach for you, obviously.
true, true.
One thing I really like the idea of, and I would like to know more about it, was this wellness box that you mentioned. I think that can be such a great trick for people, having something to touch and just go for, instead of your brain telling you to remember, oh, what were the techniques. I think that can be such a good idea. So is that what I'm thinking it is, like the
Yes.
wellness box?
Yes, yes, yes. So, okay, wellness box is like a toolbox that everyone has at home. We have nails and hammer and screwdrivers, but we don't use it till the time we really need it, right? Wellness box, everybody can have their wellness box. Now it's not something tangible, it's very imaginary, right? It should be
Oh, right.
saved in your head, right? Now, wellness box will have all the self-care and self-soothing habits, right? So for me, my wellness box has double inhalation. It has a lot of ice cube techniques. Like I like to stick my hand in the freezer, in between my sessions, and I've had a very, very long day. I go take a break, right? I just stick my hand in the freezer and I focus on whatever, part is being exposed to the ice, right? Apart from that, bare feet walking is another resource that I really like. I do this first thing in the morning. I have a glass of water. I see the sun is out. I am a big, big fan of, the nature and, the resources it provides us, right? So if the sun is out, you'll find me out, right? You'll see Prachi out in the sun, bare feet walking. I do that. I come back and then I make a priority list. So priority list is also another tool in my wellness box. This gives me an idea of my buffer time of free time, right? Even though I know our days can look a lot similar Monday to Friday doing the same thing, it's just the same, what's the change? But again, life is so short and so unpredictable, we don't know, anything could happen anytime, right? So again, having an idea of your buffer time, of your free time, will actually give you an upper hand, right? Ki, okay, this is my time, I can absolutely chill, I can relax, I can do whatever. And then you don't even have to deal with the feelings that, oh, I was not efficient enough today, I was not as productive that I was yesterday, right? So having a priority list is another tool. Another thing what I do is art, right? I like to draw a lot. So Friday nights, Saturday nights, you will not find me doing anything but art, right? So this all, I think, Shivani, comes from the fact that I know my mental health is important, so I would like to invest in it, right? Same goes for you. I'm sure there are some practices that you do for yourself to maintain that balance, right? So let's see what does your toolbox has?
I would really say just, stepping out of the busy schedule I'm in, when I feel like, I've had like a lot of the work that I'm dealing with and it's just been straight up that. Sometimes I forget to have my meals, then it's just like just taking a step back, sort of keeping everything aside. Obviously, if there's nothing urgent, that I need to deal with, just keeping it aside, just taking a round of the house, just going to look at my cat Angie, just looking at her makes me feel so relieved. Maybe feeding her little kibbles or something like that, playing with her for a bit, and then coming back feeling so refreshed. That just sort of makes me, compartmentalize. Like, okay, yeah, it makes me remember that, okay, this is all the work that I already did. And once now that's coming back and sitting down, okay, now it's okay. I can add to it and it's not bad, because when I'm like in the flow, I'm gonna feel like, oh my God, there's so much left, but I'm not really thinking about what I've already done. So just breaking that cycle or just like compartmentalizing my day, even sometimes, taking tiny breaks helps me feel a bit relaxed and not very anxious about work. So that is one thing I think on the top of my head I would say I do.
Lovely, amazing. See, again, just being a little more mindful of our daily habits will also help us in understanding of where I need to tighten the screw and where I just need to relax, right? That's the whole idea. And I think irrespective, Shivani, again, the whole fight of people like you and me is that people should just take mental health as important as physical health, irrespective if something has gone wrong or not. Just take it, right? This mind and
Why
brain
don't you?
it resides in the body, It's again, I don't mean to,
Yeah.
belittle anyone, but it's like an absolute shock when people
No.
turn up and they're like, mind to body ka part nahi hai, dikhta to nahi hai. I'm like, but how,
It's such a misconception,
Yes.
really, when you, I mean, obviously, like, in our culture, it's such a big taboo and stigma that
Yeah.
therapists don't only like not only have to like work on like the treatment and diagnosis part of it, they also have to keep
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
for like, removing the stigma, which is like such a big deal. Like, you're already, dealing with such a heavy load of work, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be,
True.
taxing for the therapists themselves. And then you have this other side of things here in our country where you're like, okay, yes, your client comes you, they feel like, they've taken that first step.
Yeah.
But somewhere in that first session, like, you can see where they're feeling like, oh, but
Hmm.
is this gonna help me? Like, okay, I came because, like, I read this, I read that, like people were telling me, but then they sometimes don't believe it themselves that it's
Yeah.
gonna really do anything good for them.
Hmm.
But I think it's just a continuous process. You keep doing that again and again and make the client feel better, help
Absolutely.
them out in some way, and then maybe you hope they change their, thinking about it.
True, true. And coming back to the whole wellness thing, this is something that I have
Yeah,
introduced in my family, and I suggest people just get together with your family and do a little bit of grounding techniques, right? You're not only helping yourself, but you're helping your family members also. Because again, Shivani, as you mentioned, in our culture, people don't openly talk, right? And specifically brown families. I don't see people saying that, I'm having a hard day, I need to take a break. They're like, I'm having a hard day, I need to be more hard on myself, right? That's the whole idea. So,
yeah,
do exercises with your friends, right? Spend more time outdoors, understanding that, okay, how do I react indoors? What my body feels when I'm outdoors. And again, it's all scientifically proven, that just keep believing in yourself and also be grateful of the resources you already have, right? Nature is such, it's an abundance, right? It's all yours. I tell people, go take up all the space on earth. It's all yours. You don't have to stop yourself, right? But for you to also, again, um people like you and I understand this in one go, right? Because we've been exposed in this industry, we've been working, we've been trained, right? But yes, people who are watching us, for them, I would say, make it a practice, right? It's just like brushing your teeth, right? We did it enough as children that now we don't have to think about it. It just comes naturally. Right after waking up, we know we need to go to the bathroom and just clean ourselves, right? Same, self care comes with a lot of practice because it's not taught us, right? It's not made I mean it's not really how do I put it, it's not shown as something so important, right? What is important in today's life or however we've been conditioned is that okay, you need to put a roof on your head, you need to put food on your table, you need to have money, right? That's it, and then you'll survive. No, but in सबको acquire करने में there comes a lot of pressure, right? So to deal with that pressure, you need to come back to yourself, right? I truly, truly believe that I am the one, right, who can save myself or protect myself from anything, right? Same goes for you, right? I'm pretty sure, Shivani, you bank on yourself than anybody else in this world, right? Because you know your shortcomings, you know your achievements, you know your strengths. So that way, spend more time with yourself so you understand what is the need, right? And keep doing little mood check-ins. Another thing I tell people, and this is something that I've also started practicing, is doing a rain check, right? Recognize what you're feeling, accept what you're feeling, investigate why am I feeling like this, and then don't identify, right? The whole idea is that don't label yourself. For example, panic, right? If I am somebody who has panic attacks, it's not just, it's one aspect of my life, right? I should not define my life that, oh, मेरी लाइफ में सिर्फ पैनिक अटैक होता है, I'm constantly worrying about the future. Yes, it is difficult, right? But just have that little courage, even that 1% of courage each day is going to be 100%, at the end of the year. So just tell yourself that no problem, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And for you to reach that stage, start practicing every day. Make time for yourself. I think that's the biggest issue with growing technology, capitalism, everything, we forget about ourselves. So why not make time? I like to take myself out on dates. I suggest people, you go take yourself out, go order that favorite food. You don't have to even
Yeah,
share your food with
definitely.
anybody else then, right?
Treat yourself, everyone.
Yeah. Yes. Go watch your
Just,
favorite
sometimes
movie.
it's,
Yeah.
you deserve it.
So again,
Definitely.
make
So,
time with yourself. That's what I have to say. Have that wellness toolbox, you need to spend time with yourself to see what works and what not works. Whatever works, put that in the toolbox, take it out whenever there's a need.
exactly. I mean, to know how to care for yourself, you have to know yourself, and that's not easy either. I
Yeah.
mean, because, you start the process and you start realizing there's so much to, understand about yourself. You would think that, oh, yeah, this is what I am
Hmm.
like, I'm this
Hmm.
hardworking person. Like, okay, nothing affects me. But when you sit down to actually, like,
Hmm.
look into yourself, you'll realize, like, oh, wow, there's so much. Because
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just like, different body parts. Like you have different emotions in you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So sometimes we don't accept them. Sometimes like we were discussing, because of our culture, we just sort of, shove it under the rug and just not think
Hmm.
about it again until we actually fall because of that huge lump that's is like under the rug. So until then, so don't
Yeah.
wait until then. I would really, want to tell our
Absolutely.
viewers,
Absolutely.
just
And
take that one step.
just to add to your point that once you start sitting with yourself, it's very hard to introspect and accept the feelings and the realizations we have, right? So for that also, people, you can come to therapy, do it with a therapist, right? They'll take care of your triggers during that session if you do feel triggered. So again, therapy is not just about you addressing your problems. It could also be somewhere where you can just become the best version of yourself, right? You don't have to have a problem, just
Exactly.
come talk. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
keeping in mind that today is about panic attacks, yes. To sum it up, work on yourself, understand what are your triggers, where is it coming from, then have practices that is going to self-soothe you, right? Have people around you. If you don't have somebody in close proximity, choose to keep their numbers on your speed dial, right? Just dial it. That person is will reassure you, right? So again, little practices each day. It's just like gym. When you join the gym, you don't see a big difference in yourself or in your muscles growing in 1 day, 2 day. It's not even in a week, it takes months, right? So same, if you've been dealing with a problem, let's say if you've been diagnosed with panic disorder or you've been going through panic attacks, it's not of 1 day, right? It's from years and years and years it has stayed in your body. So allow yourself to be more patient to your own self. Tell yourself, I will give myself the time, right? It's years. Don't expect a miracle in one night. It's not like that. If it is happening, it's not right. Take time. And yeah,
Yeah.
all through this while, just don't let yourself believe that you're any less. I think that's one. Self-doubt comes in very quickly, because if I am
Yeah,
somebody.
exactly. I was actually gonna say that, like someone watching this and realizing, that's something they relate to. Please
Hmm,
don't feel like, you have to, conquer all of this in just
yeah,
one go. The moment you realize you have this, it's okay to take your time still, and it's okay to
yeah,
not get it in one go or two or three even. That's completely
absolutely,
fine. But if you're really, finding it hard, like Prachi said, and like I keep emphasizing, do go seek professional help. You know, or
absolutely.
if it's something you're really confused by, you can, come talk to us. Just, comment on this post once it's, on our page, and then we'll be there for you. We'll make you,
Hmm.
help you understand even. You don't have to be alone for that as well.
True, absolutely. This is I wish I could pin whatever you said for people to save
Watch
it.
this first.
Yes,
Disclaimer.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, be patient, give yourself the time, and just take a little responsibility. When we are so open in taking care of other people, why not taking care of ourselves, right? I feel it's my responsibility to take care of myself and just hold myself accountable for the things that are not serving me and I'm still doing it. Yes, it's no problem. We are human beings. We do end up staying in the same vicious cycle. But if you have this realization that it's not working out for you, muster a little more courage and move out. Life could be a lot more better. Don't let your mind trick you into believing that you're less or your life is not good and सिर्फ मेरे साथ ही ऐसा होता है. No, every one
Hmm.
of us is
No,
sailing in the same
that's
boat.
like you just keep spiraling. That's,
True.
yeah, you know how you talk to your friends just like without even thinking you say that. But then I
Yes.
think somewhere in your mind, you're just really telling yourself that, oh yeah, this is me and this is how it's gonna be. So
Yes.
don't keep manifesting that, guys, to use that word,
True.
just so
And
that I can
words,
relate.
words are energy, right? Words have an impact. So even if, again, it's not like everybody's going to be in a good mood, right? Sometimes, again, maybe you're not in a good mood, you take it out on someone. I'm not in a good mood, I can take it out on my colleague, maybe my partner, maybe my friend, or maybe my family, right? But just know that when it's unnecessary and you know that I'm doing this, just out of my stress response, stop, right? It's all under your control. Give yourself that space that, okay, I will pause, I will stop, and I will step back and then come back again, right? Because again, when there's a rise, in our stress levels or anxiety, everything is in overdrive, right? It's a mayhem in the head, right? So pause, stop, drop everything. If you want to take a nap, you go take a nap. If you want to eat your favorite food, you eat that. You want to sip water, you want to go out for a walk, you do that, right? Separate yourself from anything that is not conducive to your growth and be mindful. That's it. Choti choti habits.
Yeah,
I think everybody can do
definitely.
their things.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that point. Absolutely. And I think that's, all that we had to cover today on panic attacks. You
Yeah.
have anything left to add for us, for our viewers?
Not
Anything
really.
at all? Because I didn't notice
But
any questions, guys. For whoever's still watching, I
yes.
don't think there are any
Mm,
at this moment. Even later on, when this is posted, please feel free
yeah.
to comment with your questions, concerns, queries, whatever they are. Let us know, and obviously, we would love to address whatever
Right.
questions or doubts you have about,
And
feeling like this.
expect Shivani and me to be here more often. We are going to come, we are going to talk. So we welcome
Yes,
anybody,
we need
drop
you.
your
You
comments.
guys better be here asking us
Yes,
questions. We have the answer. Let us, let Prachi tell you more about like what doubts you have. It's all for you guys. So definitely, definitely join. I
yes.
think, but for
Perfect.
today, this is
Yeah.
all, right?
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
again,
Thank
Prachi,
you.
for joining
Thank
and
you. Thank
sharing
you
your
for having
insight
me.
on panic attacks. I
Thank you.
hope people
I
really like
enjoy
this
it.
one. Let us know how she was. Let us know if you want more of these, like, helpful tips and tricks. We're
Yes.
definitely going to be coming up with way more. So just keep watching, guys. Bye. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Bye. You too.
Thank you.